Good evening and welcome to Edu Skills. OET made easy. Our mission is to make you fall in love with OET. If you're watching this on YouTube, kindly consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like our work and share the video to your point so that we reach out to maximum OET aspirants, especially those who are financially struggling to crack OET. All the services at Edu Skills is free of cost, no sorts of payments, and you can find all the links of previous live Zoom sessions in the description below. Today we are going to see OET reading part C, and we'll also tackle some of the concerns that you raised to me personally. So OET 2.0, occupational English test, subtest reading part C. And all these things I don't want to repeat. This is not a beginner session, but then definitely even beginners will be able to grasp certain things. What is the expected grade, band, or numerical score? It must be, your target must be grade A or 50 plus. Today we will be looking into reading part C, strategies and tips. Actually, in the sample 15 to 18, we have already dealt with. These are remaining questions. In the latest new sample, we'll be going with the question number 19 today. Okay, let me just make the system read it for you.
19. In the fourth paragraph, the writer believes that further assurance is being given to, A patients, B families, C clinicians, D states. Clinicians worried initially about how transparent medical records may engender adversarial patient-clinician relationships and increase doctors' liability. Trusting relationships are known to diminish the risk of litigation, even when errors occur, and the US's overall experience suggests that open and transparent communication increases trust among patients, families, and clinicians. The movement to encourage disclosure and apology when problems arise, which has spread across US states in recent years, provides further reassurance. Studies indicate that increased transparency, disclosure, and apology may decrease the chance that patients and families will file lawsuits. Furthermore, insurers state that open medical records do not seem to increase the risk that patients will allege malpractice.
So in the fourth paragraph, for beginners, it is important to understand. First thing is to number the paragraphs in the text, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can easily reach to fourth paragraph. The writer believes. Okay. Anything else in the main question, Sam? Anything else you need to highlight?
Further assurance.
Further assurance, yes. There are no special words here, only the concept words are given. So there is nothing to do with your hedging words in the answer options. So here patients, families, clinicians, and US states. And it starts with the topic sentence. First sentence is the topic sentence, and it starts saying clinicians are worried. Do you have some connection with worried and being assured? When you are worried, you need, when you are worried, you need some reassurance, right?
Reassurance.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So who is
Yes,
worried? Who is worried?
Clinician.
Clinicians are worried, which means the topic sentence is the focus controlling idea or the focus point of the whole paragraph, which I already taught you. So if you are competent enough, immediately you have the answer.
Yes,
The whole paragraph.
Clinicians.
Whole paragraph speaks about how clinicians are worried about what?
Transparent medical records.
Transparent medical records. They are worried about transparent medical records. So the paragraph speaks only about that particular topic, nothing else. So can it speak about families, US states, patients?
No, Father.
No, it cannot. It cannot. But again, you have one more strategy here. Can somebody tell me what strategy is this?
Time expression.
Yeah, this is sequential expression, right?
Sequential expression.
Sequential expression means first, second, initially. Then do you find any other sequential expression in the text? Initially, in the beginning, to say something now. In the beginning, it was so. Now it is so. Yeah, in recent years. Okay, that's another sequential expression in recent years. So it says provides further assurance, reassurance, assurance and reassurance, provides further reassurance. Is there some similarity?
Yes, Father.
Encourage this apology when problems arise, which has spread across the US states in recent years, provides further reassurance. To whom?
Clinicians.
Yeah, clinicians, because they are speaking only about the clinicians.
So actually, you do not read these once you're competent, but I'm telling you to make sure that this is the answer. And again, it says studies indicate that increased transparency, disclosure, and apology may decrease the chance that patients and families will file lawsuits. Decrease, may decrease, which means safety, assurance, right? There will be a lot of problems. There is a reassurance. Okay. Furthermore, insurers said that open medical records do not seem to increase. Insurers state that open medical records do not seem to increase the risk. Do not seem to increase the risk means decrease the risk. Again, assurance means the whole paragraph speaks about assurance. See now, recent years may decrease the chance that patients and families will file lawsuits. Open medical records do not seem to increase the risk that patients will allege malpractice. CC worried, assurance, sequential expression initially and recent years. Is that clear?
Yes, Father.
Okay, cool. So we'll go to the next one. Question number 20. Just listen, okay? It's also a listening practice for you. At the same time, try to identify the important things.
20. What point does the writer make about vulnerable patients? A. Current legislation is not robust enough to protect them. B. Keeping their data safe is not just the responsibility of doctors. C. They are insufficiently informed about the way open records may endanger them. D. Keeping information from them puts them more at risk than including it in their electronic records. Further challenges accompanying the rollout of open medical records remain. Clinicians have concerns about the well-being of their most vulnerable patients, such as those experiencing domestic violence. US regulations allow clinicians to withhold information from the patient portal if they believe it might harm an individual patient or another person. Yet it is unlikely that all doctors and patients are aware of this exception. Healthcare organizations could help ensure the safety of such vulnerable patients by providing training to clinicians and patients. Electronic health record vendors could also design provider functions that facilitate trauma-informed care, including options to create confidential notes and enhanced privacy settings that allow patients greater control over what information is available on the portal.
Okay. Now, what is important here in the question stem?
What point?
Vulnerable
patients.
Yeah.
About
Vulnerable
patients.
About vulnerable
About
points. Yeah.
vulnerable.
What point are they speaking about? What point are they making about? Vulnerable patients. Okay. Vulnerable patients. So the options speak about legislation, responsibility of doctors, then insufficiently informed, right? Keeping information from them means again
Vulnerable
patients, yeah. So now here, what does this speak about? Now, topic sentence says further challenges accompanying the rollout of open medical records remain. Speaks about challenges. Clinicians have concerns about the well-being of their most vulnerable patients. Clinicians have
concern.
So who is having concerns now?
Clinicians.
Clinicians, doctors. The
Doctors.
synonym used is doctors.
Yeah.
Now what you can do, such as those experiencing domestic violence is the subject complement. Speaking about vulnerable patients, you can just ignore them. Okay. Now here US regulations. Synonym in the option is, first option is
Legislation. Regulations.
Regulations.
legislations allow clinicians to withhold information from the patient portal if they believe it might harm an individual patient or another person. Means current legislation is not robust enough to protect them. It is robust enough. That's just opposite. US regulations say that you can even in case of necessity, you need not reveal these things. You need not reveal the data to the patient, which means it's robust enough to protect them. There are provisions, sufficient provisions. Okay, yet there is a contrast word. Now, it is unlikely that all doctors and patients are aware of this exemption. Now, healthcare organization could do something. Healthcare organization could help ensure the safety of such vulnerable patients. And electronic health records. Electronic health record vendors could also design provider functions that facilitate trauma-informed care, including options to create confidential notes and enhance privacy settings. Now there are challenges, further challenges. The whole paragraph speaks. There are further challenges as regards the open medical records. And who has to take care of it? Who is concerned about it? Clinicians are concerned. But are they able to do it by themselves? Are they doing it by themselves? No. US regulations has their responsibility. Healthcare organizations have their responsibility. Electronic health record vendors have their responsibility in handling these challenges. So which could be the option?
B.
B.
Why?
Keeping their
B.
data safe.
Doctors.
Keeping their data safe is not the responsibility of doctors. Yeah,
Responsibility of
because
doctors.
it speaks about the responsibility of many people. Okay, they say it is the concern of the doctors, clinicians. They are concerned about these vulnerable patients. So who all have to work together? So US regulations do support the healthcare organizations, electronic health record vendors all work together. So it's not only the doctor, the responsibility of the doctors. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first one is opposite. Current legislation is not robust enough to protect them. It says US regulations allow clinicians to withhold information, which means first option is just opposite. Second option is the right one. Third option, they are insufficiently informed about the way open records may endanger them. Not given. It is not mentioned. Keeping information from them puts them more at risk than including it in their electronic records. There is a comparison and contrast here, but in the whole paragraph is not in the nature of comparison and contrast. There is no comparison or contrast given here with anything. So it's just a descriptive paragraph. So the very nature of the paragraph says the fourth option is not given. Okay, going to the next question. Okay, just listen. Okay, very small paragraph text.
21. In the sixth paragraph, the writer suggests that, A, there is some news which is best given by a doctor, B, some US health systems are trying to bypass a new rule, C, test results should be checked by a doctor before patients get access to them, D, new rules on access to results fail to distinguish between different types of test. Another issue currently under debate in the US is when test results should be released to patients. In the past, with the common sense expectation that clinicians would first communicate with patients, most health systems chose to delay the release of some findings, such as pathology examinations, medical imaging reports, or cardiac monitoring. In contrast, the new US rules mandate instantaneous release of virtually all results, regardless of whether they suggest bad tidings.
So sixth paragraph tells you how to immediately jump into sixth paragraph. Then writer suggests. The opinion of the writer is important here. The options are, there is some news which is best given by a doctor. Who gives the news is the question here. Who gives some news which is best given by the doctor? Who can best give the news? Some US health systems are trying to bypass new rule. This is about new rule. Next one, test results. Third one, test results. Yeah. Fourth one,
New rules.
again, option D speaks about new rules. Now, another issue currently under debate in the US is when test results should be released to patients. When it has to be released. Next sentence is in the past. Who used to release it? Who used to? In the past, with the common sense of it, is that clinicians would first communicate with patients. Most health systems chose to delay the release of some findings, such as this, ultimately, again, this is complements, additional information which you can ignore. In contrast, the new US rules mandate instantaneous release of virtually all results. This again you can ignore because that's also complementary information which normally is not required to find out your answer. So the paragraph is very short. The first option says who has to give the news. Second option says about new rule. Third option says about test results. Fourth option speaks about new rules. Again, any idea?
B.
Give me some reasons. If you say B, new rule, some US health systems are trying to bypass a new rule. Does it say about any? It says the new US rules mandate instantaneous release of virtually all results. That doesn't say the bypass means violation of new rule. Does the paragraph speak about any violation of new rules?
No, Father. A is answer.
This is eliminated. There were some confusions. Let's check out.
B
Then it
also
speaks. Does the paragraph speak about test results? Anything about test results?
No.
No, there is no mention of test results at all. It is not given. Then new rules on access to results fail to distinguish between different types of tests. Does it speak anything about different types of tests?
No,
No.
Father.
No.
It doesn't speak about tests at all. So ultimately your answer is
A.
there is some news which is best given by doctor. Then now I think you are not convinced of this answer. Why this is the answer? And the other things are not the answer? See, it says in the past, clinicians would
clinician. Yeah, sorry.
should first communicate with the patients. Okay, then the next clause says most health systems used to delay the release of some findings. They used to delay, but they did not say it is not the clinicians not communicate. They used to delay, but the clinicians used to communicate. Okay, then in contrast, the US rules mandate instantaneous release of virtually all results. US rule says don't delay the release of news. Immediately tell the patients what's happening. Does it say who has to say it or who has not to say it? No. It says the US rule says immediately you have to give the news to the patient. It doesn't say who has to give or who doesn't give or who should not give. But here it clearly says in the second sentence, clinicians should first communicate with the patients. US rule is speaking about when it has to be given. So the answer is who has to give it. Is that clear?
Yes, Father.
Yeah. So first one is the answer. And this speaks about who and when. Two concepts are given here. In the initial part, who has to communicate. Next, when it is to be communicated. There is no option. B or C or D doesn't speak about when it has to be communicated. So only who can be the answer. Because all B, C, and D does not speak who has to communicate. It speaks about different things which are not mentioned in the paragraph. Let's go to sample 5. Question 22. Just listen and read along.
22. In the final paragraph, the phrase creative combination is used to suggest that making open records work, A is the responsibility of both patients and doctors, B may require people and organizations to think in new ways, C means accepting that different groups of patients will use them differently, D will depend on people accepting that there are both risks and benefits to using them. Challenges such as these are not insolvable, but they will take a creative combination of cultural and technical adaptations to resolve. All new medicines are accompanied by side effects that affect some patients adversely, and for some patients, fully transparent records may be contraindicated. But in the US, the benefits of open medical records for all involved seem to well outweigh the risks. Patients consistently report clinically meaningful effects, and any potentially negative effects on practitioners have been limited and manageable.
So this is a lexical question, very easy. In the final paragraph, that tells you have to immediately launch into final paragraph. Creative combination is used to suggest that making open records work. So as in the lexical questions, usually it is underlined, highlighted, all those in the text as well as in the question statement. So creative combination, challenges such as these means what was being discussed in the previous paragraphs are not insolvable, means are solvable, but they will take a creative combination of cultural and technical adaptations to resolve. Creative combination is the responsibility of both patients and doctors, may require people and organization to think in new ways. Creative and new, is there any similarity?
Yes. Synonyms.
Yeah, they are synonyms. Creative ways, creative combination of cultural and technical adaptations. Adaptations, ways. So normally you have the answer immediately after the highlighted word. If not before, then if you don't find, you have to go into the previous sentence. There's a normal rule for lexical questions, and you need not read other things which is not required. May require people and organization to think in new ways. Creative combination. The very synonymous expressions, you can get into the answer. And the rest of the things is the responsibility of both patients and doctors. Creative combination is the responsibility of both patients and doctor. Here it is said cultural and technical. It doesn't speak about whose responsibility, but the nature of the responsibility. So it's not patients and doctors, it's cultural and technical adaptation. So first option cannot be the answer. This is the answer. Second option. Third one means accepting that different groups of patients will use them differently. Creative combination cannot mean open works, that making open records work means accepting that different groups of patients will use them differently. No, different groups cannot use them differently. These are all just records, their health records. Will depend on people accepting that there are both risks and benefits to using open records work. Does it speak about benefits and risks of open records? Benefits of open medical records for all involved seem to well outweigh the risks. Patients consistently report clinically meaningful effects, and any potential negative effects on practitioners have been limited and manageable. This speaks just about the benefits and risks, but it does not say that it's a creative combination. Benefits and risks is not the creative combination. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't require, if you get into these new ways and creative adaptations, that itself is clear about the whole thing. Okay, now some concerns or clarifications. Okay, this was the concern that was sent to me, asking why this problem. This is reading B, right? Yes. So just listen.
According to the procedure, when inserting a catheter, clinicians should A. Only use a catheter once. B. Carefully follow all guidelines. C. Ensure the patient isn't left alone. Catheter insertion procedure. Where possible, use a two-clinician buddy system to carry out the procedure. The patient's ethical, religious and cultural beliefs and personal history should be considered when appointing clinicians to perform a catheterization. A chaperone may also be required to observe the procedure. It is recommended that the patient's genital area be washed with soap and water prior to catheterization. If unable to insert a catheter after 2 attempts includes changing to a different catheter size, seek further assistance from a senior clinician. A new catheter should be used for each attempt. Testing of the catheter balloon prior to insertion may compromise the integrity of some catheters. Refer to manufacturer's instructions to see if pre-insertion testing is required.
Okay, the concern asked was, the answer option is A. Why it is A? Now, regarding these options, do you have any comments? According to the procedure, procedure is important.
Should be used for each
Yeah.
attempt.
A new catheter.
A new catheter should be used for each attempt.
Be used for each. Should
Now,
model with that further.
which option are you thinking of?
Yeah.
Thinking about?
Yeah.
A. But then
Yeah.
the objection was there is only.
But this option is not meaning that absolute.
See,
Okay.
because
Okay.
they
Yeah, only use a catheter once means you can use once. It doesn't say never use. You can use once. So that is not an absolute. The meaning is not absolute.
the meaning the catheter can use only one time.
One time means not absolute. It's neither this
absolute.
and nor that thing. So the meaning is important. Even in the previous session, I have clearly highlighted that with example. Now, second one clearly gives an absolute, right?
All is
Yeah, all is absolute. So immediately you can actually, that is even the meaning is
not mentioned in the
absolute.
paragraph full all guidelines.
no, whatever. Even without looking to the paragraph, you can eliminate, carefully
all.
follow all guidelines. Okay, because absolute is present
Absolute.
over there. Ensure the patient isn't left alone. Here it is should. Clinicians
Should follow.
should follow. But here they say chaperone may.
A may also.
Chaperone means he should not be left alone. Yeah, chaperone means so he should not ensure the patient is not left alone. Make sure means he should be, there must be a chaperone. The third option says there must be a chaperone, which is not given here. It says a chaperone may also be required to observe the procedure. May. Even the modal verb indicates that cannot be the answer. Ensure means must. Ensure is the
Must
synonym of must. I had given you the list of synonyms about must. So here it doesn't speak about must, it speaks about should. See, again, it's about procedure. So use catheter once means not absolute because it's not never, not always. It's not the extreme ends. And ensure the patient isn't left alone, not procedure. Okay? Should is mentioned in the question, may is in the text. So that cannot be the answer. A new catheter should be used for each attempt. As somebody mentioned, a new catheter should be used for each attempt is the paraphrasing or the synonymous expression of only use a catheter once. Only use a catheter once. That is clear. As I said, eliminate the extremes. You know, extremes are all is extreme, few means zero is extreme, or eliminate always the extreme, never. Such expressions can be eliminated. No other expressions in between can be eliminated. And I have given you, I'm not going to explain these things. I've given you some examples in the previous session. See, all areas of the hospital should be fitted with overhead tracking. This can be eliminated because this gives absolute and the meaning is absolute. All areas of the hospital should be fitted with overhead tracking, including your dressing room, including your visitors room, including the this one reception, everywhere. See, in the text it says installed in all new or refurbished facilities. This is not all, meaning is not absolute. In the text you have overhead tracking should be installed in all new or refurbished facilities. Means some of the facilities are new or refurbished. Just there you need to install the overhead tracking. Though there is all here in the text, that doesn't mean all. Installed in all new or for refurbished facilities. All the new recruitees to the hospital should meet the MD. Means not all the nurses. Only new nurses who are appointed. Some of those nurses. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, again, one more example. You see here. Mattresses are of standard size, so may not be suitable for all bed types. May not be suitable for all bed types. All is present there, but doesn't mean all.
But negative came, that's why all is not absolute.
Yeah, so it says not be suitable for all bed types means it is suitable for some bed types. So the meaning is not absolute. The word should be absolute, and in the context, the meaning also should be absolute to eliminate. One more here. They are to be used only by the surgeon. Only is absolute. It's absolute. And the context also it is absolute. They are to be used only by the surgeon. Okay, context is also absolute. We have already discussed this in detail in the previous session and the video is uploaded. That's why I'm not going into all the details. Okay. Only the idea I want to give you is this. The absolute word should be there and the meaning should be absolute. Is that clear? Hello? That's it.
Okay,
These are bit advanced sessions. Beginners, don't worry. Get some idea and try to take the same material and do it. If you don't have the material, you can request and admins will provide you with the material. Now signatures.
I'm from Pakistan. I'm attending your session, watching your videos on YouTube. And I'm very happy I'm attending your session. I'm very happy I'm attending your class. It's very useful. And the way you are teaching, it's very different and very informative. And I hope I will join the session next also with you. And I'm very happy. I can't explain how much I am happy. And thank you very, very much for your care and for your time which you have spent with us.
Thank you so much, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you,
Thank you, Father.
Father.
Thank you, Father.